Welcome, I'm Paul, this is Dave. You're watching a reaction to the movie Oppenheimer, my first time watching. Cillian Murphy does fit the mad scientist or eccentric scientist well. Whoa. That's a pretty graphic. Is he imagining this right now? Prometheus stole from the gods and gave to man, for he was chained to a rock. I missed the last part.
Dr. Oppenheimer.
Is this after he
Dr. Oppenheimer.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're not judges, Doctor.
No.
I think this is some kind of examination after the fact.
Members of the Security Board, the so-called derogatory information in your indictment of me cannot be fairly understood except in the context of my life and my work.
How long did he testify?
Oppenheimer still divides America. The committee's going to want to know where you stood. Senator Thurman asked me to say not to feel that you're on trial.
Oh, funny, I didn't.
Is that Robert Downey Jr.? Huh, damn, I didn't know he was in this.
When they bring up Oppenheimer, you answer honestly. No senator can deny you did your duty. It'll be uncomfortable. Who'd want to justify their whole life?
Everyone wants to cover their own butts.
Were you happier there than in America?
Happier.
Yes.
I think if I recall, he was a communist. I think that's part of the controversy. Could be wrong.
Universe.
The atomic universe.
Christ, Oppenheimer. Have you had any sleep?
I need to go to the lecture, sir.
Why?
It's Niels Bohr.
All right, let's go. Oh, no, not you, Oppenheimer. You finish coaching those plates.
He cares more about the theory than the practicality. At least right now. He has bigger ideas. Potassium citrate. Injecting it? Is that like punishment for his teacher? Is that lethal?
Einstein's opened the door. Now we are peering through, seeing a world inside our world, a world of energy.
Quantum discrete packets. I like this representation of atoms. It's like a field of dust in the air. Is he having second thoughts? I think that was intended to kill his professor, which is a bit extreme. You could say. Did they notice it? Okay, it wasn't needed.
You were at my lecture. You asked the only good question.
No one's denying his insight. It's his laboratory work that leaves a little to be desired.
A lot.
You can lift the stone without being ready for the snake that's revealed. Now,
I like that quote.
get to Germany, study under Max Born, learn the ways of theory. I'll send word.
Wormhole.
I would have taken it and pretended to bite into it.
Can you hear it? Can you hear the music, Robert?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, he wants to invent an entirely new kind of music. One with incredible power. This is beautifully shot so far. I'm not sure what shattering glass is supposed to mean. The innate chaos of a system? It's something else, I'm sure. Or is he just frustrated?
Senator from Wyoming.
Admiral Strauss, I'm interested in your relationship with Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer. You met him in 1947.
Dr. Oppenheimer. An honor. Mr. Strauss. It's pronounced Strauss.
Yes, well, you'll love the commute. The position comes with that house for you and your wife, and your two children.
Nice.
Two. Self-made man.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Really? Yes, my father was one. And this would be your office.
I like how differently Oppenheimer is acting. His personality is completely different in each snapshot of his life, which makes sense, but it's good acting.
Einstein published his theory of relativity more than 40 years ago now.
Yeah, it was quite a bit before the atomic bomb.
Quantum world it revealed.
God doesn't play dice.
He did not like quantum physics. I think Einstein was a patent clerk or something like that. Just like an ordinary job. For a while, obviously, before he revolutionized physics. Is that Einstein? Yeah, it is. That's cool. I think, yeah, he became obsessed in disproving quantum physics in his later years. Or something like that.
That's you. You are the man for the job.
Well, then I'll consider it. I'll see you at the AEC meeting tomorrow.
This is one of the most prestigious appointments in the country.
Yes, it's a great commute. That's why I'm considering it.
Doctor, your time in Europe, you seem to meet with a wide range of other countries' physicists.
Yes, that's right.
Any Russians?
Worried he was spying or leaking information.
Allow me to continue with my
Mr.
statement.
Robb, you'll have ample opportunity to cross-examine.
He was in a movie, I'm not sure. What was it? Oh, Sixth Sense, I think, or something like that. No. Forgot the name.
What's he saying?
Not what you were expecting.
We're a couple of New York Jews. How do you know Dutch?
Well, I thought I'd better learn it when I got here this semester.
You learned enough Dutch in 6 weeks to get a lecture on quantum mechanics.
I wanted to challenge myself.
Quantum physics wasn't challenging enough, Schwitzer.
Schwitzer.
Show off.
It would be fun to be that intelligent. Or like Isaac Newton, inventing calculus on a dare over summer, you know, just playing life on a different level.
This is German you have to seek out.
Heisenberg.
Right.
The uncertainty principle. Fascinating stuff.
Such speculations seem to us, to say it explicitly, fruitless. Thank you.
It is amazing how everything is so chaotic at the fundamental quantum level. Atomic, subatomic, but then the greater you expand out, because of statistics, I guess, you can predict.
Why? There's no one there taking quantum mechanics seriously.
That's exactly why.
He's pining for the canyons of Manhattan.
That's the America I miss right now.
Then it's best you get home, cowboys.
Yeah, the shot with the horse. Interesting. But yeah, it's like you can't predict a single event, but a million of them. You can use statistics to average out probabilities.
You must be Oppenheimer.
Yes,
I hear you want to start a school of quantum theory.
I am starting it next door.
They put you in there. We're building a machine to accelerate electrons.
Magnificent.
Would you like to help?
Build it? Oh, no.
No. He's up here in his mind.
Got my first in an hour.
Seminar?
Pupil.
One student? That's it?
I'm teaching something no one here has dreamt of. But once people start hearing what you can do with it...
There's no going back.
That's true. They didn't know how true it was.
You're doing it wrong.
Is light made up of particles or waves?
Both.
Quantum mechanics says it's both. How can it be both?
It's paradoxical, and yet it works.
Depending on the situation. Waveform collapses. If observed, interacted with. Huh? See, his class is growing. Interest is sparking.
And it's a vicious cycle until... What's the limit here?
Black hole. Or a neutron star.
My assumption is that it was connected to his left-wing political activities.
Keep it out of the lab.
Well, out of the lab, my landlady is having a discussion group tonight. Interested?
I have sampled the Berkeley political scene. It's all just philosophy postgrads and communists talking integration.
You don't care about integration.
I do agree with that, though.
Not talk about it.
Not having politics within the class. On campus, okay, but not in the class. It seems Yeah, that would spook me a bit.
Spanish Civil War?
A democratic republic being overthrown by fascist thugs. Who wouldn't?
Our government. They think that socialism is a bigger...
Right, this would be McCarthyism, right?
What happens to stars when they die?
Do stars die?
Oh, yes.
They do. They cool, then collapse. In fact, the bigger the star, the more violent its demise. Their gravity gets so concentrated it swallows everything.
They can get it to the front lines.
Harry sent me with these. MG.
Love interest?
Oh, I've read Das Kapital, all 3 volumes. Does that count?
It would make you better at the most party members.
I'm committed to thinking freely about how to improve our world. Why limit yourself to one dogma?
I like my wiggle room too.
Well, the key is that science is all... Wow, okay, right into it. The key is science is always evolving, so much like any theory, being dogmatic and certain that you're correct can lead to issues. They didn't waste any time.
What?
I'll bite.
I tried to poison my tutor.
Did you hate him?
Right.
I liked him very much.
Very extreme.
We're all simple souls, I guess.
I'm not.
Simple with some nuance. But the devil is in the details.
And now I am become death.
Oh, is that where he got it from? Sanskrit. Interesting. Destroyer of worlds.
Destroyer of worlds.
Oh my, he's gonna remember that line. How could you forget it?
We joined the party, and you can't hide your disapproval. Why? Is that because that's supposed to be your thing?
I haven't joined the party, Frank.
He just has a very open mind. Which is good.
I'm your brother, Frank, and I want you to be cautious.
And I want to wring your neck.
Fair enough.
I feel like I could see one of those dark stars that you're working on.
You can't. It's the whole point.
Hmm.
Gravity swallows light.
You can only see the bending of light coming from behind it. I didn't know Oppenheimer worked so much on black holes. It makes sense.
Alvarez?
Didn't pay for his haircut?
What? What is it?
They done it.
Oh, you had a breakthrough?
They done it. Hahn and Strassman in Germany. They split the uranium nucleus. It's a nuclear fission. They did it. They split the atom.
It's not possible.
Well, they theorize it, and then it actually happens. That would be the greatest day of your life. But yeah, you want to make sure it's true. You got to reproduce it again and again and again and again. And obviously, yeah, it works.
Look. These fission pulses, they're massive.
Theory will take you only so far.
Yep. Then you got to deal with reality.
I'm just, what? What are we all thinking?
A bomb. Alvarez.
Big bada boom.
Bomb. I don't understand what you want from
I
me.
don't want anything from you.
Well, you say that and then you call.
Well, don't answer.
I'll always answer.
That is confusing.
You have somewhere to be?
Lawrence, academics have rights too.
Look, it's not that.
I've got a group coming.
Oh, I'll sit in.
The FBI?
Richard, Dr. Bush, what brings you two up north?
Never mind. They just don't like that he's affiliated with the Communist Party.
But after Hitler invaded Russia and we became allies, these communist sympathies, do they return?
No. Groupings of tiny energy waves bound together.
By what?
Forces of attraction strong enough to convince us that
We're solid.
Solid.
Yep.
Stop my body passing through yours.
See, that's great. You to be able to explain quantum mechanics simply and also kind of make it sexual or sensual, flirting. That's pretty impressive.
Well, his previous husband had died, and at 28, I wasn't really ready to be a widow.
It was your first husband.
Nobody.
It's terrible.
Ideology got Joe killed for nothing.
Spanish Republic isn't nothing.
My husband offered both our futures to stop one fascist bullet from embedding itself in a mud bank.
Seems a little reductive.
Pragmatic.
It is sad we all die mostly for nothing, but not everyone.
At least you didn't bring me flowers.
split loyalties in more ways than one.
We talked, they're getting a divorce, so we can get married before she starts showing.
How civilized.
All about appearances.
This is your community. You think the rules don't apply to the golden boy?
Brilliance makes up for a lot.
Yeah, it does.
In the world that understand what you do. One day you might need them.
That's true too.
Luminance. What do you get paid a month?
That's not the point, Lawrence.
What do any of you have in common with farm laborers and dock workers? What are you doing?
It's a trade union.
Filled with communists.
So I haven't joined the party.
They won't let me bring you onto the project because of this shit. They won't even let me tell you what the project is.
Yeah, there are limits.
It's not your people they're herding into camps. It's mine.
But yeah, he has an open mind, but he's obviously, even if you're back here not knowing history, you wouldn't think he's going to betray the country.
Because you're not just self-important, you're actually important.
Mm-hmm. When you're the main character and you don't realize it. At this point in time, focus on the science, not the politics.
Why were his communist associations not seen as a security risk during the war?
Senator, I can't possibly answer for security clearance granted years before I ever met them.
A rabid anti-communist named Borton. He wrote to the FBI demanding they take action.
The FBI? Why not go to the AEC direct?
Why get caught holding the knife yourself?
Could be useful to our enemies in the production of atomic weapons.
Congressman, you could use a shovel in making atomic weapons. In fact, you do. You could use a bottle of beer in making atomic weapons.
Genius is no guarantee of wisdom.
That's a line. That's a hell of a line. You install programs on your hard drive with intelligence, but then knowing when and how to use them, that's wisdom. And they are not necessarily connected.
Shouldn't you go to him?
I have been going to him all fucking day.
I guess she's unhappy. Crying baby will definitely drive you mad, I suppose, but that's sad.
Take Peter. Sure. No, for a while, Hook. A while.
Wow.
Such awful people. They don't know. They're selfish and awful.
Unless they're brilliant.
You should. Lawrence won't get this done. Or Tolman or Robbie, you will.
Dr. Oppenheimer. I'm Colonel Groves. This is Lieutenant Colonel Nichols. Have that dry clean.
Is that Matt Damon? Looks a bit funny with a mustache.
Well, if that's how you treat Lieutenant Colonel, I'd hate to see how you treat a humble physicist.
Oh, if I ever meet one, I'll let you know.
Touché.
Problem number one would be securing enough uranium ore.
1,200 tons. Bought the day I took charge.
Processing?
Just broke ground at Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Now I'm looking for a project director.
And my name came up?
Nope. Even though you brought quantum physics to America, which made me curious. You're a dilettante, a womanizer, a suspected communist.
I'm a New Deal Democrat.
I said suspected. Unstable, theatrical, egotistical, neurotic. Tolman thinks you have integrity, but he also strikes me as a guy who knows more about science than people.
Don't take much on trust.
I don't take anything on trust.
Yeah, trust but verify.
So how would you proceed?
You're talking about turning theory into a practical weapon system faster than the Nazis. Hitler called quantum physics Jewish science, said it right to Einstein's face.
Huh, I didn't know that.
The Germans know more than us anyway.
The Russians don't.
Remind me, who were we at war with?
So you have the job now?
I'm considering it.
Not even officially offered, but I mean, him being there, it's pretty clear.
If we don't let scientists bring their families, we'll never get the best. You want security built in town?
Hey, that's the human element. Smart.
I'll have to find the perfect spot. For?
Boom. Successful boom.
But you can't tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, but they're all smart enough to put it together.
How about
That'll do. He doesn't want to invent the bomb.
A bomb that falls on the just and the unjust.
He's right.
I don't wish the culmination of 3 centuries of physics to be a weapon of mass destruction.
But what do you do if the enemy is also building it? If you don't, there's no good answer, is there? Mutually assured destruction seems to be the only one. It's not a good answer.
Wait, what was the first?
Take off that ridiculous uniform. You're a scientist. They need us for who we are. So be yourself. Only better.
Good advice.
It's more important. When I calculated the chain reaction, I found a rather troubling possibility.
Oh, igniting the atmosphere? I remember that being a scare back then.
Talk to Einstein.
Well, there's not much common ground between you two.
That's where I should get his view.
True, yeah. Someone who doesn't agree with you is going to be the best one to pick apart a theory.
Oh, have you met Dr. Gödel? We walk here most days.
Please.
I love seeing representations of Albert Einstein.
Even in Princeton, he's convinced that the Nazis can poison his food.
That's kind of funny, the irony.
Neutrons smash into nucleus, releasing neutrons to smash into other nuclei. Criticality.
It would ignite the atmosphere.
Yep.
Lost in your quantum world of probabilities.
Thank God that didn't happen.
And if the truth is catastrophic,
then you stop and you share your findings with the Nazis.
The chances of an uncontrolled nuclear reaction are near zero.
near zero.
But not zero.
Theory will take you only so far.
Yeah, but gambling the entire world on near is kind of crazy.
He mentioned that if anyone had anything they wanted to pass on, going around official channels, that he could help.
This is a test.
That would be treason.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I just thought you should know.
Not the best actor. I mean, in the movie, he's a good actor, but just...
I fought Oppenheimer in the U.S. one.
I don't think we need to go there. Isn't there someone we can call who knows what really happened?
Huh. Their baby really cries a lot. I wonder if he's healthy or something was wrong with him. I guess just a new place. Seems okay now. Imagine that, having a theory and literally just having a town built to facilitate the engineering and theory of that theory. And it pans out exactly as you imagined it will.
Chemical reaction.
And even that is nothing compared to an atomic bomb.
Man-made expressing power in terms of tons of TNT.
But it would be thousands.
Well then, kilotons.
The bomb will need a... Sorry. Gadget will need a 33-pound sphere about this.
Not supposed to say it's a bomb. And everyone knows.
Are we boring you, Edward?
A little bit, yes.
May I ask why?
We all entered this room knowing a fission bomb was possible. How about we leave it with something new? Heavy hydrogen, deuterium. You see, we compact the atoms together.
It's talking about fusion, thermonuclear. Yep.
Then we'll get not kilotons.
Megatons.
So how do you generate enough force to fuse hydrogen atoms?
A small fission bomb.
But they don't go to this route first. Fat Man and Little Boy were just atomic bombs. Just.
White House officers are down.
Wishful thinking, I'm afraid.
Are those the long-range detection filter papers?
It's an atomic test.
I call this shooting. Fire a chunk of fissionable material into a larger sphere with enough force to achieve criticality.
How long have you been British?
Since Hitler told me I wasn't German. I've informed General Groves we've been holding cross-divisional open discussions on a nightly basis.
Shut them down. Compartmentalization is the key to maintaining security.
Because if it can put us ahead again, the President of the United States
Definitely wants it.
needs to know about it.
Yep.
There's no proof there was a spy at Los Alamos.
Robert.
Yeah, I think that's the proof right there. They have the exact same design as you. That's pretty telling.
Dr. Fermi.
Come stai? Va bene.
Fermi paradox.
Do we really need that in the notes?
How do you safely test that? That's amazing. You need like control rods like they use in nuclear reactors.
I tried personnel. They asked if I could type.
Can you?
Yeah, I remember something about women being used as like typists or something, doing a lot of the grunt work, but very important work, because they don't have computers yet.
Why? Because we have every right.
You have just the rights that I give you. No more, no less.
Compartmentalization is the protocol we agreed to.
I mean, with the security breach.
Generalissimo, I quit. Thanks for nothing.
Better off without him.
Aren't you more concerned about his discretion out there?
We'll have him killed.
He's joking. Oppenheimer he definitely thought there was some hint of seriousness to it, which there might be.
So you could control me.
No, I'm not that subtle. I'm just a humble soldier.
Well, now we understand each other. Perhaps you can get me my security clearance so I can perform this miracle for you.
It is wild that he doesn't have security clearance. He already knows everything.
In your opinion, would he ever consciously commit a disloyal act?
I would be amazed if he did.
So he had complete confidence.
I like it. Standing up for him. I'm guessing they grew to know each other quite well over the years.
Would you clear Dr. Oppenheimer today?
Do you have the guidelines?
I don't know what all the guidelines are.
Would you clear Dr. Oppenheimer today?
Oppenheimer looks very sad. Maybe a bit confused? I don't actually know what happened to him after the war. I know he worked on the bomb, of course, but beyond that, I'm not sure.
I'd like to remind you what we talked about in Berkeley.
Compartmentalization, I understand completely.
They've refined quite a bit of material. How much I think they needed like a couple kilograms or something like that? Not much.
Sorry, General, I said I understood, not that I agreed. Okay. Gentlemen?
That there were communists on the project.
Knowingly
I just want to know, were any of them involved in discussions of the super?
Never employed at Los Alamos. He was a liaison. Our security was tight, as former Colonel Nichols well knows.
Our security was as tight as it could be given the personalities involved, but attempts were made.
And how many people they needed to employ.
Hello, Rossi. What? Okay, just calm down.
It's been another screw-up. Lomanitz just got drafted.
It wasn't a mistake. Your friend Lomanitz has been trying to unionize the radiation lab.
You promised to quit all that.
Well, he has.
It's so petty. Literally just making him into a slave to fix a problem. Disgusting.
Your Q clearance came through.
Huh. Yeah, you did eventually get it. That's the whole future storyline.
It's fair to say that during the war years, you felt that such contacts were potentially dangerous.
Look, I've had a lot of secrets in my head for a long time.
Is this Jackie? She doesn't like flowers. In the garbage they go, yeah.
Not a word. What did you think that would do to me?
Very vulnerable kind of conversation.
Where did you go?
I can't tell you.
Why not?
Because you're a communist. Indicated a great desire to see me before we left. At that time, I could.
Evolution. Evolutionary pressures.
Did you find out why she had to see you?
I like this. Everything laid bare. This must be so uncomfortable for him.
Spent the night together, didn't you?
Yes.
You drop in and out of my life, and you don't have to tell me why. Now that's power.
I'd rather be here for you as you need.
But you have other priorities now.
And I'm glad I did. But I can't see you again.
But what if I need you? You said you would always answer.
And she does always call. She doesn't like being on the side, which is understandable. Thing is, as far as the story is telling so far, Oppenheimer didn't reveal any secrets to her. And she's probably not actually a spy or anything, but he didn't actually divulge any information. So that's just a piece of information that looks suspicious but doesn't amount to anything nefarious.
Well, you were under an oath to me when you went to see Jean.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what he can do. And why does she have to be there to hear all that? Was that deliberate on their part, just malicious? They really don't like Oppenheimer.
As regards the union, I wanted to give you a heads up on a man named Eltonton.
A heads up.
Yes, just that he might marry.
You went back the next morning.
I did, I had to, really. This time there was another man.
Subject met with and spent considerable time with one Jean Tatlock, communist, the record of...
Okay.
I would never put you in a room with Paz.
Why not?
I wonder if that actually is the ploy.
And interrogate him in the Russian manner.
Using Jean to get to Oppenheimer, because of course women are men's weakness.
It's like having a child who I can't see by remote control.
Oh, this guy, he was in Ocean's 11.
Frankly, I can see that there might be an argument for the commander-in-chief informing the Russians they're our allies, after all, but I don't like it.
It's all allies for convenience, but not really allies.
I was trying to put it in the context of Russia's not Germany.
Boris Pash.
Enemy of my enemy.
There's a man whose name was mentioned to me a couple of times. Eltonton.
I didn't expect this to be some kind of spy thriller. Pretty interesting.
Typical American schoolboy attitude that there's something wicked about telling on a friend.
Well, now.
Snitches get stitches.
So Eltonton made his approach through a member of the faculty here at Berkeley.
As far as I know, if I seem uncooperative, I think you can understand it's because of my insistence in not getting innocent people into trouble.
You're trying to protect your friend. Who's protecting you?
You.
Did he give you the name?
He did.
But not then, did he?
No.
No, in fact, it was some months later, wasn't it?
Months, wow.
Without the name, our job was extremely difficult.
And when did you receive the name?
I was gone by the time Oppenheimer finally offered it up.
Gone.
They felt my time would be better spent in Europe, determining the status of the Nazi bomb.
Wonder what happened for Oppenheimer to divulge the name. There you go. I guess it has to reach the peak of it. Enough plutonium and uranium.
Early Christmas present for you all.
Is it big enough
to end the war?
To end all war?
Not quite all war. There are local skirmishes, but between superpowers. It truly is mad.
What? He took a wrong turn. We're ahead. And with you here to help us, Niels.
Talk about after. The power you're about to reveal will forever outlive the Nazis. And the world is not prepared.
Yep.
You could lift the stone without being ready for the snake that's revealed.
We have to make the politicians understand this isn't a new weapon. It's a new world.
It's a paradigm shift.
And who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And they'll respect that. And your work really begins.
The power to destroy the entire world, if improperly used. How crazy is that when you think about it? To literally use your mind to take random resources from the earth that can then annihilate all human beings with just a small amount of it.
They found her yesterday in the bath.
Who?
She's taken pills. Left a note, not signed.
Wow. Did she actually do it?
She said she needed me. I
think so. It's not your fault, Oppenheimer. She was a communist when... It's not your fault.
To commit the sin, and then have us all feel sorry for you that it had consequences.
He was intermingled with two women.
People here depend on you.
And yeah, Jean definitely had a thing for him. Power, as she said.
I'm not quitting my job because plutonium is...
But there was no choice in this context. in the strange confluence of allies and enemies.
It's your job, Teller. I'm engaged in research.
On a hydrogen bomb we're not even building.
He will eventually, but he's ahead of his time. And he's out now, apparently.
I won't work for that man.
Oh, let him go.
How do you even test this? You have all the theory, the mathematics, but then you have to actually build it, and then you have to go out to the desert every time to see if it even works. It's right next door, but...
No one is leaving Los Alamos.
You don't have time to meet. You're a politician now, Robert. You've left physics behind many, many years ago.
Once a week. 1 hour, you and me.
He really believes in him. Obviously, he's a genius. Already thinking about fusion before they even invent the atomic, the basic version of this bomb.
An H-bomb is 1,000 times the power of an A-bomb.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weapon of mass genocide.
Izzy, draw some circles on.
I like that guy.
Then how would you have Truman reassure the American people? Simply by limiting the spread of atomic weapons through international control on nuclear energy.
From a spy at Los Alamos.
No spy at Los Alamos.
Gentlemen,
There wasn't?
let's not get sidetracked.
Thereby revealing its existence.
Which you seem convinced they already know.
Yeah. They already know.
Committee members to meet in privacy to finalize our recommendations.
And really at the point where you have bombs that powerful already. They both have atomic bombs. If you have a bomb that's 1,000 times stronger, what difference does it make? An atomic bomb can still level a city, as we know in Japan.
Amazing sight, like a meteor. A V-2 rocket headed England.
You have the Soviet Tsar Bomba. It was like 50 megatons. Fat Man, Little Boy were 14 kilotons? Kilo. Versus mega. We're tens of thousands of times stronger. It's insane.
It's your intention to suggest that Dr. Oppenheimer is disloyal to the United States.
I've always assumed.
That is the whole point of this charade, isn't it? Accusation and accusation. I don't know, but I don't... The impression I get so far is he's not. All he wants is not to be responsible for the end of humanity, which, fair enough.
Germany is about to surrender. It's no longer the enemy who are the greatest threat to mankind. It's our work.
But the Japanese fight on.
Their defeat seems assured.
Not if you're a GI preparing to invade.
See, this is the argument for using the bomb. More of our soldiers would die in an invasion.
Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen. A peace based on the kind of international cooperation that Roosevelt always envisaged.
What if they had dropped the bombs near the cities, but not on top of them? So, sending a message of what they could do without actually committing mass genocide against the Japanese. A lot of them were, children, women, children, innocent civilians. So it doesn't actually work now, right? Oh, never mind. That's just a normal bomb. Yeah, it didn't work. Or is this just testing the implosion method? Obviously, they wouldn't have been that close if they thought it was atomic. I've seen images or a video of the first atomic bomb. I think it was the first one they tested, where there was this house built, mock house, and you just see the dust and everything, the force of compressed air rushing past it. The stuff of nightmares. But sheer awe and nightmare.
And you felt your judgment was sound on who on the team.
There is a vulnerability in family. People are betrayed by friends and family, especially all the time. But that still wasn't atomic, was it? Or was it just a very small amount?
Well, figure it out, fast. We leave for Washington in the morning. We're gonna give him a date.
Yeah, I guess they're just testing small amounts.
Chicago, Leo?
If we don't act now, they're going to use this thing against Japan. We booked a meeting with Truman, but somebody killed it. Japan's not going to hold out alone.
How could you know that? You got us into this. You and Einstein with your letter to Roosevelt saying we could build a bomb.
Against Germany.
That's not how weapons manufacture works, Cillian.
Against everyone, forever, for all time. Even against aliens in the future if they invade us.
The firestorm in Tokyo killed 100,000 people.
mostly civilians.
Oh, Dexter's father. Underrated actor. Haven't seen him in much.
Don't underestimate the psychological impact of an atomic explosion.
Not to mention the radiation.
A terrible revelation of divine power.
If that's true, it would be definitive. World War II would be over.
Divine. I don't think divine is the correct word.
Perhaps a vital war plant with workers?
Okay, right. They haven't decided on cities yet.
Is there no way to demonstrate a bomb to Japan to provoke surrender?
Exactly.
We intend to demonstrate it in the most unambiguous terms. Twice. Once to show the weapon's power, and a second to show that we can keep doing this until they surrender.
But you don't have to drop it on a city. Drop it near it, and then they'll see.
Let me make this simple for you, gentlemen. According to my intelligence, which I cannot share with you, the Japanese people will not surrender. Under any circumstances.
Not all scientists on the project are in agreement. In fact, this might be a moment to consider other opinions.
Absolutely. We will test fire before the conference.
Man. Being in that room, though. Discussing the bombing of cities. Oof. That is so heavy. Regardless of how necessary you might think it is, that would tear apart my soul.
The Air Force requested a line of lights for their B-29.
What B-29?
They're gonna be so flabbergasted by how successful this is. 40 miles in any direction, and not a soul. At least they have a good place to test it, where no one's gonna be harmed. How confident are you? I would be far away. Even if I was a genius that calculated all that, I would just play it safe. The plutonium core that is supposed to ram into their uranium, if I understood that correctly. Knowing that they were going to attack a city. Actually, do all the scientists know it's going to hit a city in Japan? I'm not sure if everyone else was aware, but if I knew that, there's no way I could keep working on it. Not that that would probably stop it, but I couldn't have it on my conscience. That's too much blood.
Is there anything else that might stop us?
The weather? Divine intervention?
It's happening, isn't it?
Yep.
Robert. Clay.
All the luck in the world for it to not work. But it sure as hell did. Do they test it anyway in bad weather? A culmination of years of work. How would that feel?
And does anyone want the side action on atmospheric ignition?
Well, it won't be around for long. If that very near chance ends up being Snake Eyes.
2 years worth of plutonium will be scattered across White Sands.
Right, that's true. Refining the plutonium and uranium is, even for a country, it takes so much time.
Steel tower with the atomic bomb.
Pretty good idea.
What is this doing? Raining, blowing lightning. For how long, damn it? Hold strong. It'll bring before dawn. How could you know that?
Yeah, he has experience in this area.
Sign your forecast. If you're wrong, I'll hang you. Tell them all. 5:30.
Bit extreme, but okay.
3 years, 4,000 people, $2 billion. Well, if it doesn't go off,
2 billion.
we're finished.
This is 1940s money too, so that'd be what, tens of billions today.
What did Fermi mean by atmospheric ignition?
We had a moment where it looked like the chain reaction from an atomic device might never stop.
Yeah,
Setting fire to the atmosphere.
but it's nearly zero chances.
Except it's the most remote possibility.
How remote?
Chances are near zero.
What is the percentage exactly?
Near zero.
It's like 1%? If it's like 0.00001%, okay, but if it's 1%, 1 in 100, that's insane. Do not push the button. Obviously they did, but I wouldn't. Imagine it was a 10% chance, and they still pushed it. He was correct. He's Oppenheimer, so no surprise, right? Quantum theorist and meteorologist. The whole package. The music is just so intense, isn't it? Not just now, but throughout the whole movie. Keeps you on edge. Or the sound effects when they're tapping their feet in unison. It's almost like entering into Oppenheimer's mind. There's so much noise and intensity in there. And then eventually it just breaks. Crescendo building up to the climax. You feel it in your bones. I'm excited. Honestly, just excited for the visual, because I'm sure they're going to show it. And seeing an atomic bomb go off is so impressive, even if it's just CGI. Sometimes. There's one shot where they tested the atomic bomb, I think in Ape Atoll or something, off an island in the ocean, and you see this giant cloud of water emerge, and it engulfs an entire ship, like the ship is tiny. It's so huge, and I don't know how big that atomic test was, but I don't think it was thermonuclear. If they tested like the Tsar Bomba in that, put a crater in the ocean, it's insane. And does glass, I know glass blocks some UV, but I think it's 90% or something. It's not 100%. You still want to, I'd be behind a lead box, lead wall. His hand is shaking, yeah. So I didn't know they tested this at night. I thought it was during the day. It was like very early morning. It's amazing that they see this test and they still go out and drop 2 bombs on cities. Still can't get over that. I mean, it's history. It's what happened. Humans can be, I don't even know what the word is for that, terrified. They're shaking for so many reasons. It's not just the culmination of their work being tested, but also the implosion test didn't work, so they're thinking, oh, maybe this doesn't actually work. But what if it does work? They're nervous for either outcome. Oh my god. Those are long seconds. He can't watch? Or he's going outside? But don't take your goggles off. They're also really close. Okay, it worked. First time. Wow. You don't need music for the scene. Just the awe of science. Wow. I want to see it. There it is. How many kilotons was this first Trinity test? I'll have to look that up after, unless they tell. Man, that's incredible. They haven't felt the shockwave yet. How many miles away? Was that 4 miles away, I think they said? Shockwave is coming. Brace yourselves. It's just so quiet. Pure awe. And this is like the cloud he was seeing earlier on in the movie. The specks of dust. Not just atoms, but representing the splitting.
And become death. The destroyer of worlds.
Yep. There's the shockwave. And also, it pushes air out, but then it sucks it back in, because there's a vacuum. So it goes in and then comes back out. It's pretty cool. Did he say that line, I am death, I've become destroyer of worlds, right then? Or was it after dropping the bombs on the cities? I don't remember. It's a grand celebration. But remember, even though you build a bomb, you invent a weapon, you don't get to decide how it's used. He's a celebrity, basically. Coming back from a grand rock performance. Wonder how far the shockwave would go. How far are they from the desert camp that they built, the town? miles and miles, I know, but I think you'd still feel the shockwave from it.
The blast won't be as powerful.
With respect, Dr. Oppenheimer, we'll take it from here.
Yep, there you go. You built it, now go away.
Robert, we've given them an ace. It's for them to play the hand.
You ready for the 6th? Well, you'll keep me informed.
Of course. As best I can.
Yeah, exactly. Need to know basis. You built it, thank you, now you're done. You even get a thank you? Probably not.
Would the Japanese surrender if they knew what was coming?
Well, it's knowing and then experiencing it, right? That's the argument.
I've told Simpson the various opinions of the community.
But what's your opinion?
As it's used.
It's the most informed opinion.
Until somebody builds a bigger one.
Even then, it's like they mentioned earlier, one of the scientists, I forgot his name, but he said, drown in 10 feet or 10,000 feet of water, what's the difference, right? This is already so strong.
Anything? Charlotte?
He's cut out now. They're gonna disband the town and everything too. Okay, they already used it. The weight of it will really hit you after it's used on real people.
It's been a long road.
I think one of the wisest things I ever did was when I selected the director of Los Alamos.
It's just so sad, though. Celebrating the end of a war, but at what cost? The cost was so great. But I guess in war, you can easily dehumanize the other side. That's how it always goes. You don't think of their women, their children, their innocent men. You only think about your own safety. The basketball hoop above him. Slam dunk.
The world will remember this day.
Oh, he's not wrong about that. It's like reality was shifting behind him.
It's too soon to determine what the results of the bombing are. But I'll bet the Japanese didn't like it.
It's taking a toll on him, for sure. He's thinking about his child.
I just wish we had it in time to use against the Germans.
This is what he's supposed to say, but he doesn't really want to be saying this. What if it was dropped on us right now? Almost have to breathe heavy after that. It hits so hard because this is real life. This really happened. Oh, it's like stepping on the charred corpse. Oh my god. And all the people that survived there, but lost loved ones. Yeah, radiation poisoning. It'll melt your insides, so everything just decays internally. You don't see it or feel it right away. Because the DNA is damaged, so when your cells replicate, they replicate incorrectly and everything starts to degrade, and one of the worst ways to die. I think I'd rather drown than that, which is saying something, because drowning is not pleasant.
Wes, you on the cover of Time. Jim tells me you're concerned about an arms race with the...
He doesn't want to take all the credit. Partly for guilt, maybe.
I don't think so.
Well, they'll put everything they have in...
No, they can secure it, probably. Refine it. Might take longer. But they know how.
We have to build up Los Alamos, not shut it down.
I don't know how long it took them to develop the thermonuclear hydrogen bomb, fusion bomb, after. I think the Tsar Bomba was in the 60s, so maybe 2 decades after this.
You think anyone in Hiroshima or Nagasaki gives a shit who built the bomb?
I mean, I think they do. Well, they probably care who built it too, but they're probably not thinking about that, yeah.
Hiroshima isn't about you.
But he does have some responsibility, because he made it. Without him, it couldn't have happened. Or maybe someone else eventually would have, but he was definitely instrumental.
Don't let that crybaby back in here.
Really? I wonder, was Truman actually that short-sighted? Interesting the pivot from being so gung-ho to use the bomb before, and then transitioning after.
All along with McCarthy on the rise, he knew he was vulnerable. His brother was blacklisted by every university in the country. Lomanitz wound up working the railroad, laying track.
Really?
He was devastated when Truman rejected their recommendation.
Doing the good thing, the correct thing, rarely gets you the rewards of life. But that's not why you do it.
I think it must have been a blow for the world.
The world? What does Fuchs mean to the rest of the world?
Klaus Fuchs, the British scientist that you put onto the implosion team at Los Alamos. Turns out he was spying for the Soviets. After the truth about Fuchs came out, the FBI stepped up surveillance.
Well, he did say he was British.
His phone was tapped.
But that's not really his fault. It was like brought in for him.
And maybe he thought fame could actually protect him.
Can help, but it's not enough. And fame wanes over time.
Two scorpions in a bottle, each capable of killing the other, but only at the risk of his own life.
So he had to lose his security clearance.
And with it, his credibility.
But how could they do it?
I worked my whole life to get here. Cabinet of the United States of America now in front of the entire country. They want to put me back in my place.
This was taken 31 days after the bombing.
His first mistake.
Everyone in the street, for nearly a mile around. There were many who thought themselves lucky, who climbed out of the ruins of their homes, only slightly injured.
But the radiation still got him.
From the radium-like rays emitted in great numbers at the moment of the explosion.
Far worse. Much better to be instantly incinerated.
The British physicists say the atomic bombings were not the last act of World War II, but the first act of this Cold War with Russia.
Stimson is now telling me we bombed an enemy that was essentially defeated.
Robert, nobody knows what you believe. Do you?
It's in quantum flux. But that's what happens with a smart person with an open mind.
If atomic weapons are to be added to the arsenals of a warring world, then the day will come when people will curse the name of Los Alamos.
Maybe curse is the wrong word. Infamy?
But how would you know what Time magazine is going to write?
Henry Luce is a friend.
He has connections too.
But you've been far ahead all along.
Survival in Washington. It's about knowing how to get things done.
What was it you said about Borden? Why get caught holding the knife yourself? I'm beginning to think Borden was holding the knife for you.
Strauss has been perfectly clear that he is neutral.
Whoa.
Up.
They never forget.
Strauss. It's always been Strauss, and you know it.
As a politician.
It wasn't Nichols or Hoover, one of Truman's guys. It was you.
Wow.
We need a systematic destruction of Oppenheimer's credibility so he can never again speak on matters of national security. Appeal. As you can see, Robert, it's not yet signed.
May I keep this?
What a snake, honestly.
Examine Oppenheimer's file, as will the Great Board. Defense counsel will not.
Manipulative bureaucrats. Politicians.
We're not convicted.
And yeah, it's not about putting him in prison. It's just about destroying his credibility and his name.
If you do decide to appeal, then they'll have to send you a copy. Take my car and driver, I insist.
That's disgusting.
Sorry it's come to this, Robert.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Damn, that just makes me freaking furious.
You'll lose your job. You will lose your reputation. We'll lose our house. Robert, we have to fight.
You let my client sit here and potentially perjure himself.
Oh.
This time, you had a recording?
Nobody told
your
client. You don't have the clearance, Mr. Garrison.
You're reading it into the record.
Please, please.
The clearance to hear his own recording, what? That's ridiculous.
Why lie? Well, clearly with the intention of not revealing who the intermediary was.
Your friend, Hakon Chevalier, the communist?
And he is loyal to the United States, to his friends, to the institutions.
He is.
Eat.
It's all a stupid game. Man, I would hate this. I would hate this.
To express the warm support for science and scientists.
Regardless of his opinions, he did provide you the most powerful weapons in human history.
I don't think I should be subject to cross-examination by you, Mr. Garrison.
Mr. Garrison, given that we own
Not a court. Not on trial. So slimy.
J. Robert Oppenheimer is an agent of the Soviet Union.
Please, come
Following
on.
conclusions are justified. 1. Between
No, they're not.
Is anyone ever going to tell the truth about what's happening here?
It's about power, not about truth or reason or morality. The games humans play, my god.
Because of the personal vindictiveness he demonstrated against Dr. Oppenheimer.
Okay. Well, this is out of left field.
If you want to try that case, you should try me. Excuse me, gentlemen, if I become stirred. But I am.
Nice.
Also disagreed with Oppenheimer's positions and envied him his prestige in government circles.
Get wrecked.
You shook his fucking hand?
I would not have shook his hand. Exactly. I'm with her on this one.
Under my interpretation of the Atomic Energy Act, which did not exist when I hired Dr. Oppenheimer in 1942.
Come on.
I would not clear him today if I were on the commission.
Good. Thank you, General. That is all.
But I don't think I'd clear any of those guys.
Oh.
That's all.
Fair enough. Okay. That's half in, half out.
By no means. I hope I didn't lead anyone to believe otherwise for an instant.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, I mean, that's not too bad. You can shake his hand.
Did you have a Communist Party membership card?
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
She gonna fight back?
Can a distinction be made between Soviet communism and communism?
Well, in the days when I was a member, I thought they were definitely two things. 16 years ago.
But
17 years ago. My mistake.
But you said...
Sorry, 18. 18 years ago.
No, 19. No, 20.
Intellectual communist and you're plain old regular commie.
Well, I couldn't answer that one.
I couldn't either.
She's playing the game well. Nice.
Robert, you can't win this thing. It's a kangaroo court with a predetermined outcome. Why put yourself there?
Not even a court. Bureaucratic proceeding. Bureaucratic hanging, ready.
Has a point.
Oh, Einstein.
I'm not sure you understand, Albert.
No? I left my country never to return.
But I happen to love this country.
Then tell them to go to hell.
Yeah. Wonder if Einstein ever actually said that. That's pretty cool.
That I gave the file to Gordon.
We're not in court, sir. There's
Yeah.
no burden of proof.
It's all about allegation. There's no cross-examination.
J. Robert Oppenheimer, and if he could do it all over, he'd do it all the same. You
Hmm.
he's never once, whoever lived.
We freely used...
Probably some truth to that.
Doctor, you were moral scruples.
We set forth our...
Reality's bending again. Damn, this is tense. Saw the chaos in his mind right now.
No moral scruples in 1945, plenty in 1949.
Only after it was dropped, after the reality hit him. I do think it hit him.
When did your strong moral convictions develop with respect to the hydrogen bomb?
I think it changed after. How could it not?
The renewal of your security clearance. A full written opinion with a dissent from Mr. Evans will be issued to the AEC in the coming days.
Mr. Evans, good guy.
Undenied. Yeah?
I'm afraid so, sir.
All right.
So they both took each other out. Sort of.
What's his name?
John F. Kennedy.
Oh, really? That's the origin story for Kennedy. Damn. Okay.
We'll see.
Forgive is the wrong word. Understand, in context. Just a human being. A very, very, very smart human being. That fake smile. What did they talk about? So we'll get to hear it.
They'll serve you salmon and potato salad.
Oh, wow.
It'll be for them.
She doesn't forget. At least she didn't spit in his hand, but...
Destroy the entire world?
I remember it well. What of it?
I believe we did.
Fundamentally changed it, at least. Piece that was. I mean, I went into this knowing that it was well made. Christopher Nolan is responsible for so many great movies, and to tackle history like this, he did it so well, and bringing you through each step slowly with a lot of detail. Things I didn't know. I mean, I knew some of the history, of course, like most people, but there's so many details. I didn't know all about the security clearance, all about Strauss, about the rivalry between them, how he felt after the bombs were dropped because of the line that he spoke, the one everyone knows, that I am become death, destroyer of worlds. In his mind, he was truly envisioning the future, which of course, for us, 80 years later, after this first test of Trinity, the world is still here and we're okay. And in terms of conflict between superpowers, he was right. There was an end to war. There are local skirmishes, proxy wars between countries, obviously now with Ukraine and Russia and the US and NATO, and there's a lot of alliances in China, India too. There's alliances, but there's local skirmishes still, but there's not all-out war. We haven't had World War III. Einstein, I remember this quote from him. He said, "I don't know what weapons World War III will be fought with, but I know that World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones, if there is even any humans around." And Oppenheimer probably agreed with that quote, even though they disagreed on the science a lot. I don't have to work on the bomb to know that dropping it on a city of people, real human beings, as real as you and I, and if you're at war or not, it doesn't change the innocent people in those wars that don't want anything to do with it. What can they do? They can't change it. They can't leave. They have no choice. They're just there because of bad luck, roll of the dice in their geographic region, who they happen to be citizens of. Now they're just all guilty? So it's okay to just drop nuclear bombs, atomic bombs on cities full of innocent people? Innocent children. Like if you're going to say the adults have a choice, the children don't. They're all 100% innocent, and you kill them anyways. And I know even to this day, I think it's a controversial take, or at least there's a lot of people that still support dropping the bombs on the cities. I would say dropping them near them, so the demonstration, it is true they had to see it. Knowing the science and knowing it's possible probably isn't enough to convince them to surrender without having to invade them directly. But if you just drop them near the cities, then you know what they're capable of. Of course, would they call the bluff and say, well, we're not surrendering, you didn't drop them on the city, so you're not willing to go to that extent? Maybe. It does make you ask a lot of philosophical questions. If you're at war with the country, what are the legitimate rules? Are there any rules that you should abide by? It's collectivism versus individualism because so many individuals are innocent. Collateral damage, right? I don't have all the answers. All I can tell you is that me personally, I don't support having dropped those bombs. And I think if I was alive back then, in the midst of war, it would be easy to get swept in to the hype, you could say, of war and fighting off the enemy and winning, beating them so completely. But I think when you attune your mind to think about it on the individual level, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm glad that Oppenheimer struggled with those ideas because it's an important question. But in the end, here we are. We have thermonuclear weapons that can level entire cities 1,000 times over from what we did to Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But we haven't killed ourselves yet. Are we going to? Was Oppenheimer's nightmare of the future correct? We will all have to live with the decisions that brilliant men of the past made, and hopefully, we don't fulfill their nightmares. What an amazingly haunting movie that was. Thanks for watching my reaction. I'll catch you guys soon for more reactions. See you then.